Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. On Thursday, 5 soldiers were killed and 1 was injured after an army vehicle was fired upon in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch. This is the biggest attack post-Pulwama in which 44 CRPF jawans lost their lives. Army has launched a massive search operation to nab the terrorists. Army and security agencies have received inputs about the presence of about 6 to 7 terrorists operating in 2 groups in the Rajouri-Poonch sector. The attack comes just ahead of the all-important G20 meeting, which is scheduled to be held in Jammu and Kashmir in May. The attack also took place a day after Pakistan Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto confirmed his presence for a visit to India in May. Has this attack then been timed to embarrass India on both these fronts? Is the attack an attempt to derail the G20 talks in Srinagar? And if we go by preliminary reports, past experiences, we know where the roots of such attacks are. In such a circumstance, how should India respond? We'll take all of those questions to our experts joining us in just a bit. But first up, Havaldar Mandeep Singh, Lance Nayak Debashish Baswal, Lance Nayak Kulwant Singh, Sepoy Harkishan Singh and Sepoy Sevak Singh of Rashtra Rifles were killed, martyred in this attack. While the one jawan who's been seriously injured is undergoing treatment, no doubt he's going to be very crucial as far as cracking the case is concerned, getting more details out is concerned. A massive manhunt, as I mentioned, has been underway. People's Anti-Fascist Front, PAFF, has claimed responsibility for this attack. PAFF is a proxy terror outfit of the Lashkar-e-Taiba. The terror group has threatened to target upcoming Srinagar G20 meet. It is also a group that regularly issues threats to forces, politicians and migrants in Jammu and Kashmir. Here is what intel sources are saying on the Poonch ambush. 3 terrorists are suspected to be foreigners, 2 are locals. According to intel sources, this is a planned attack with a motive to create sensation ahead of the G20. Sources say terror group was sitting in Rajouri and Poonch jungles for a period of time. Earlier, a residential property has also been attacked in Rajouri. Now, security forces have initiated a crackdown where OGWs are being probed to know more about the perpetrators. But what intel sources also tell us are the changing tactics of terror groups in Jammu and Kashmir. So terrorist groups are no longer targeting urban areas. The focus has shifted from urban areas to jungles now. Terrorists maintain minimal contact with the outside world. After carrying out any attack, they retreat to these remote jungle locations. Now, this phenomenon can also be attributed to the fact that there's a shrinking size of overground workers. Terrorists are also aware that forces do face difficulties when they are navigating these tough jungle terrain. Now, decades change, but Pakistan's deceit doesn't. This latest episode coming just ahead of the SEO meeting, just ahead of Bilawal Bhutto's meeting, points to the same. Just look at some of the examples. When India reached out with the Lahore bus yatra, we got Kargil war in return. When we opened up trade routes in 2008, we got Mumbai terror attack. In 2018, we sent 2 ministers for Kartarpur corridor ceremony. What did we get in return? We got Pulwama terror attack. And now, in a new decade, we invite Bilawal Bhutto for the SEO meet. We have Poonch terror attack take place. Of course, as I mentioned, the big question will be on Pakistan's role. The other big question that we also asked today as we go into our first debate, how should India respond? We've known how India can respond with previous strikes. Is it time for something like that, something else or more?
बड़ी दर्दनाक घटना है, लेकिन अभी उन लोगों को मार तो गिराया जाएगा जल्द, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है। सेना और जो सुरक्षा बल हैं अपने अपने काम पर लगे हुए हैं।
क्यों भारत माँ के वीर सपूतों के ऊपर इस तरह के कायर लोग हमला कर देते हैं? मैं मांग करता हूं कि सरकार जैश जैसे जो अपनी जिम्मेवारी ले रहा है इस हमले की, उसके ऊपर कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई की जाए।
Many of them are carrying this, printed placard saying Pakistan nursery of terrorism, and we're seeing others also raising slogans against militancy in Kashmir Valley.
Let me first go across to my colleagues, Arunima, Editor Home Affairs, Tajinder Singh Sodhi, Assistant Editor, joining us from different locations. Tajinder, I want to come to you first. Just give me a sense of what does the crackdown in the valley look like today? Exactly what is happening as far as the security efforts are concerned?
See, Shivani, right now the security agencies, they are focusing on, their main focus is on two aspects. Number one, whether these terrorists, they came from the Kashmir Valley, they carried out this terror attack and they returned to Kashmir using the Mughal route or the roads inside the jungle. So this is one of the main aspect which the security agencies are looking into, because if you see the trend ever since these attacks in the Rajouri Poonch area started in September, October 2021, since then there has been no trace of those terrorists who are involved in these terrorists, except one instance where on 11th of August 2022, 5 army jawans, they were martyred when terrorists, two Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists, they tried to barge into a military camp in the Pargal area of Rajouri district. So now the security agencies, they are also looking to the fact that there is a possibility that this group of terrorists, they are based out in somewhere in Shupian, Kulgam area, from where they come to Jammu region from the Mughal road, or they use the road from the jungle area. They carry out this attack, and after this attack they return to Kashmir Valley. So hence they don't leave any trace. This seems to be the case in the Bataduria encounter, wherein we lost 9 of our brave heart. This also seems to be true in case of the Dangri terror attack, because there has been no trace of the terrorist involved in that case. So a crackdown has been launched and all the aspects are being looked into. The second aspect is that this group of terrorists, they might have been hiding somewhere in the Bhatadurian jungle, which is spread in a huge area. So efforts are also on, as we have been continuously reporting from that area, how drones, helicopters, they are being used into service to find out the exact location of these terrorists. But right now, 24 hours after this incident, there has been no success. Yes.
Right. Arunima, I want to come to you to understand the big picture. I think we've lost the link with Arunima, but I do thank Tajinder Singh Sodhi for joining us. Let's also open this up to our guests joining us. I want to go across to Tuhin Sinha, BJP spokesperson, joining us. Charan Singh Sapra from the Congress Party, Lieutenant General KJ Singh, former GOC in Chief, Western Command. Farooq Renzu Shah, Chairman of the Kashmir Society, is also with us. Let me go across to Tuhin Sinha. Tuhin, you know, this is, of course, in terms of the damage that it has caused for the Indian forces, is one of the biggest terror attacks, in Jammu and Kashmir. Coming just ahead of the SCO, coming just ahead of the G20, this is going to be a big headache for the government, isn't it?
Well, yes, Shivani, on the face of it, it's that it had a twofold agenda. One, to try and besmirch India's reputation as supposed to, and we are supposed to have the G20 summit over there. And two, a desperate attempt by Pakistan to keep the issue of Kashmir alive. But fact is, these are what you see today is the sediments, or probably the leftover of Pakistan terrorism in the last few years. From maybe 5,000 odd terrorists in the valley in 2015, 2016, there are barely 100 of them left. So yes, I mean, it will be avenged probably, even after an Uri, after a Balakot retaliation, if these guys, and at a time when Pakistan is bankrupt, if they cannot give up their morbid obsession with Kashmir.
Okay, can I just ask you, can I just get a clarity from you? While I obviously don't want to speculate or, in any way suggest that we want to rush the government into announcing what happens, what doesn't happen. But you do believe, as a BJP spokesperson, you are saying you do believe that there needs to be a response, and a response on the level of the Balakot airstrikes? Is that what you're saying?
No, see, first of all, we leave it entirely to our armed forces. We completely trust that they are capable of deciding the retaliation. So that's something which is completely left to them. But on the larger question of Pakistan's perfidy and its deceptive behavior across over the last seven decades, the only thing Pakistan has shown is that it doesn't respect decent behavior from India. It learns things the hard way, and if that is what is, will drill sense into Pakistan, we are prepared for that.
Okay. Charan Singh Sapra, I want to understand from you as well. Of course, this is a matter of concern for India. But these terror attacks have been coming down. The government will, of course, also talk about the fact that overall terror activity, the number of terrorists, the amount of infiltration that takes place, all of that has come down. But given that this has happened just before the G20 meeting, there's an SCO meeting lined up, do you believe that India needs to respond in a very, very stiff manner, needs to send out a message? We all know where the tentacles of terror in Kashmir go to.
To start with, I would like to give my condolences to the brave hearts and their families. We have unfortunately lost them. All have been martyred. As far as the government is concerned, or as far as the BJP is concerned, I feel their answers after every incident, whether it is the killing of Kashmiri Pandits or whether any other attack. Now, let me tell you that in the same place, a few months ago, there was an attack and 9 soldiers were killed. All the time, BJP gives similar answers. It's like, old wine in new bottle. They don't have a defined policy, a clear policy to fight this proxy war. And I'll give you one example whereby, the Home Minister, sometimes he says that we have reduced the military cover from Jammu and Kashmir. They withdraw some forces from there. And then in United Nations, they go and say that the terrorist activity has increased. So these double standards should be taken care of by the government. It is a serious issue. We are ready to be with the government as far as this proxy war of Pakistan is concerned. Whatever step government wants to take, they can discuss with the opposition parties also. But they should have a firm policy. They should not have double standards. It is only
double
because
standards.
This
Can I just quickly
doesn't have a clear policy. That's why such things are happening, and it is repeatedly happening.
Okay, fair enough. Can I just quickly bring in Tuhin before I go across to our other 2 guests as well? Tuhin, please respond, because those questions naturally will arise. What is the policy? If there is such a strong policy, why do these attacks keep taking place?
It's very sad that when Mr. Sapra says that he doesn't want to do politics, that's precisely what he's doing. We never hobnobbed with the Hurriyat, we never patronized them. Fact is that we have done away with the core funding of terrorists, which the Hurriyat was the conduit for. We have completely dismantled the terror infrastructure. If these sediments, like I at the very start, I used the word sediment, these are the leftovers of the Pakistan legacy, which was encouraged by the Congress government. So I think the policy is very clear.
Can I please answer? He's deviating from the topic.
The Kashmir society, which has happened with the application of Article 370, with the inclusion of the society in all our government schemes. But yes, when it comes to these terror attacks, once in a while, we will give them a fitting response and ensure. But over a period of 7 decades, we have seen that Pakistan doesn't learn its lessons the straight way. It doesn't, respect these.
Yes, Mr. Sapra, you can respond. Mr. Sapra, you can respond, but please, very quickly, please.
See, what I mean to say that this government is not learning from the repeated attacks. I would like to now quote Satyapal Malik, who had shown his apprehensions after Pulwama, who had clearly told the media that it is an intelligence failure. Now, again, this attack is an intelligence failure. This government is not learning the lessons, whether it is from Satyapal Malik, whether it is from the opposition party, or whether it is from the system itself. This government is more worried, or the BJP is more worried about the muscular policy of Narendra Modi or the muscular image of Narendra Modi. They don't want that muscular image to get reduced.
Can I go across?
Just what they have been talking. That's why they want to protect that 56-inch chest, and they don't want to protect the soldiers.
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough, but I don't really want to get into that kind of politics today. Let's give our agencies and our government some time to tell us what has happened. The army some time to respond, and of course, we can get into all of those questions as well. Political questions always will arise. There is no doubt about that. But I want to go across to one of our experts on the panel, Lieutenant General KJ Singh. Sir, how do you see this? Is this a big intelligence failure? Or how do you put it, this attack?
Shivani, Jai Hind. First of all, I'll join all the panelists and your channel in conveying heartfelt condolences at the loss of brave hearts.
Yes.
We assure them as a nation that we look after their dependents. The government, I'm sure, the 2 state governments which are involved, Punjab and Orissa, their units, their regiments will take care of. The people can't come back, but we are committed to looking after the dependents of our brave hearts. Let me start with this positive note. there are various options that forces have, and I do not say that it is, at this stage, I cannot say it is intelligence failure, because general intelligence, there was a meeting also.
Yes, yes.
It was felt that something like this can happen because the G20 meeting is going to be held between 22nd and 24th May. Now, the problem is, these are generalized warnings. And in that specific area, whatever structure is there, they'll have to introspect. Why did they miss the various leads? Every incident, we must learn from it. There can be no perfect solutions. You know, Shivani, there will be, you cannot say that there'll be zero sort of terror attack. There'll be some attacks which will take place. It is important to localize that group, take care of it, and then also trace from where it has been launched. If there is a terror launch pad which is in vicinity, surely action will be taken against that.
Do you believe so? Sir, I just want to press on that subject, because that is the fundamental question that is on the minds of all Indians. How is India going to respond? The expectations of the Indian public of how we are going to respond to our neighboring factors when such attacks take place has skyrocketed. Do you believe that there is a requirement to do something? I mean, we can wait for of course, for the agencies and the army to make up their mind about what exactly transpired as this attack took place or how it took place. But we all know where all of this really comes from, isn't it? When we talk about Jammu and Kashmir.
Shivani, the response is best served cold. It has to be done professionally, and we are capable of doing it. I'm sure the agencies are working on it, and we can't rush them into a hurried response because it entails risk for our people also. So it will happen, and I hope that the group is localized on this side only and dealt with. And if required, if there is a launch pad which is identified, surely action will be taken. Action
can I ask you one more question, sir? Because questions will arise. Was there something amiss as far as the SOPs are concerned? As this, we are told it was a convoy, but we are not quite certain how many vehicles were there or whether this vehicle had drifted from the convoy. What had happened? We don't quite know. I don't want to speculate. But given what has transpired in the past, the questions that have been in public domain recently, do you believe there has been a slip up on the SOP part as well?
Shivani, see, there are various local factors. It was raining. There was bad visibility. There are days when you have dry days, when vehicles don't run in convoy. You have to run vehicles in lot of 2 or 3. Was it a part of that? I'm not very sure, because I retired about 6-7 years back. And I am only seeing the official information which is coming out. So if there is a failure, surely people will take action. I assure you of that. And we will learn lessons. On unit level, I can't guarantee you. There can be a slip up. But action will be taken. Redressal will be done. It's unfortunate if it has happened like that. But generally, there is no, in my perception, such a thing is a low probability thing, as I look at it, Shivani.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I want to go across to Farooq Renzu also, who's joining us. You know, I don't want to go by just what the government is saying, but we've had several Kashmiri voices coming on this network, across our network, and just generally in the public domain, in the media, talk about the fundamental shift that has happened in Jammu and Kashmir, and especially Kashmir. Do you believe this is an attempt to attack that quote-unquote progress, especially with the G20 meet being held in Srinagar? This is particularly to target that, any sense of pride, normalcy coming in?
I think you have a very great point, and I, as a person who is based in Kashmir and knows how things have started really taking a very positive shape after just 5th August 2019. It was actually earlier, the proxies were working. The administration, there were the proxies, there was a Ziaul Haq's doctrine enter and capture the doctrine, give 1,000 cuts to the India, and the doctrine was being helped by the government sitting inside. The proxies were not only Hurriyat, proxies were also certain parties were posing to be the mainstream parties, and they were part. That is the Satyapal's interview. Satyapal Malik's recent interview, if you will listen, there was a Deputy Chief Minister, ex-Deputy Chief Minister, Muzaffar Beg, meeting him and conveying him the message of the Gilani to the Rajbhavan, and being the late to the Rajbhavan appointment, but getting first to going to the residence of the Gilani.
Okay.
At that time, if it is a fact, it is a point to be seen that the infrastructure of Ziaul Haq is still alive. It has been only face of it. It has been dismantled, and they are in some. The clergy is still there, and clergy is more empowered who are telling Ghazwatul Hind. It is not. You can say it is a start of another 90 type of earlier stray incidents, because Ghazwatul Hind is a part of an ideology which has been encouraged even by the government establishments. I know one who is presently the SP probably in the police.
Okay, let's not make individual charges, since we don't have those individuals to defend themselves. But just on the broader issue.
You not individual charges.
No, but on the broader issue,
infrastructure is alive.
No, Farooq ji, I take your point. I take your point that Pak sympathetic infrastructure is still alive. But I want to understand from you, how do ordinary Kashmiris look at the fact that this attack has happened, especially with the G20 summit coming in? Do you believe that this is a way to derail progress?
Yeah. The point is, there has been a very good relationship emerging between army and the people directly during last 2-3 years. And army was being much more being hailed and loved by the people of Kashmir during 3-4 years. But today, and there has been a good enthusiasm among people of Kashmir. G20 is happening. It is going to boost our image very high. And I don't think everybody, I condemn as a chief of this Kashmir society that this is a very condemnable. And it is not only the army has been attacked. It is our Kashmir's future has been attacked because of this.
Right.
We were progressing. G20 is a point of progress for us.
Right. Tohin, that's your challenge. As Farooq ji is saying, that, a lot of things, I know this is not easy, of course, and abrogation of Article 370 only happened in 2019. This is a generational issue. It's a decade-old issue. It takes time. But, this is fundamentally the problem, that there is still much left to dismantle in Kashmir for you to be successful, for us to be successful.
It is encouraging.
The reassuring part is that you have family members of slain terrorists like Burhan Wani hosting national flags, the Indian tricolor, in their homes. They want to join the mainstream. So this is a massive difference that has taken place in the last few years. But I agree that Pakistan as a nation is deceptive, perfidious by nature. It cannot, despite all its internal problems, it cannot just keep away from its morbid obsession with Kashmir. So yes, from time to time, the unfortunate reality is that we need to give a certain dose to Pakistan, which, as the need arises, we will do over here. But in the last few years, if you simply go by data, I think, terror attacks have become probably 10% of what they used to be pre-2014. And again, let's not, get politics. People like Satyapal Malik, they have limited credibility. They keep changing their statements. So I don't think we should get them over here in this debate.
Okay, in any case, I want to ask Mr. Sapra a final question as well, sir. That, there are these voices within India that keep harping about how we need to have good relationships with Pakistan. We need to do something. Some dialogue needs to happen. Some, friendship needs to happen. When is it that we're going to realize as a country, I'm not talking about party to party, as a polity and as a country, that that's not going to happen? The very reason Pakistan exists is to, attack India. Its very being is anti-India. So all of these people keep hampering about this friendship as if we are the ones who don't want to be friends. They need to stop.
See, these such people will keep hampering, but the major portion over here is that what is the ruling party going to decide? What is their policy? There should be a firm policy. That's what I'm talking. And whether when they are doing investigation, the reports should come out. Like the Pulwama report is not disclosed to the people as yet. What happened, how it happened, and report about DYSP Davinder Singh. Why Devinder Singh is out, what investigation is done regarding Devinder Singh. He was caught with a terrorist itself. So such reports should come out. Government should come clear on it. We should have a firm policy, and we should see that.
But sir, for that to happen, you said Pulwama report and all of that. I am for that. But for that to happen, we need to see less heightened politics on security issues, especially in Jammu and Kashmir. We cannot have rabid politics on these issues.
No. I'm not talking about rabid politics, but it is the responsibility of the government. They should come out with a clear, firm stand against this proxy war of Pakistan. Now, Bilawal Bhutto is coming. What is the stand of government? Whether are they going to protest when Bilawal Bhutto is here in India for the meeting, or whether they are going to protest now against Pakistan, whether they are going to go to UN regarding this attack. So government should have a strategy, they should have a firm policy, and people of the country should also know what is the government policy, what is the framework of government to fight Pakistan and the terrorism coming from Pakistan.
Okay, I have to leave it at that. I have to leave it at that. This has just been about 24 hours since this attack. Let's wait and see what happens, what more comes out from the army and the security establishment. And of course, then we'll all await what the government response is going to be. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Coming up after a very short break, we'll get you more as far as the other big region debate is concerned. And of course, that's about acquittals taking place in very old either terror or riot cases. Where does that leave the victims and their families? We'll get you that in just a bit.